Hello, everybody. Baron Bananas here. So, my Wi-Fi got fixed, thankfully. I mean, the real test is going to be one of my other streams when I run a more demanding game. Katawa Shoujo is not that demanding. Especially on bitrate, but it seems to be going well before. Just loading up apps on my phone in general that's actually working now. It's before most of them would not load at all, or they take forever. So we're good on that front. My bitrate right now seems to be holding steady around where it should be, which is good. So it's either tomorrow's stream or later in the week. We'll see how that actually ends up going. So quick little things before I actually start. Tuesday stream is canceled because I have just a kind of a last minute shift that came up. So yeah, no stream that day. Tomorrow it might be later than 12 o'clock. I've got stuff to do, so depending on how long that takes, it might be a little after 12, could be a while after 12. I'll let you know as it goes. But beyond that, everything else is the same. 12 o'clock starts throughout the rest of the week, and no stream on Saturday. Anyway, so Katawa Shoujo, that's where we're at for today. So, when we left off, we had just started Act 3 of Emmy's route. At the end of Act 2, we actually ended up getting together with Emmy. She confessed to us. So we just took that as a chance to go in for a kiss, and that pretty much solidified the fact we are gonna be dating. So, yeah, that's not what I want. Right there. Alright, so. Here we go. Emmy, Act 3. My head's in a spin all through Muto's class. I'm going to have dinner. With Emmy. Who wants to be my girlfriend, no less. A date. And then she kissed me. That kiss. I keep going back to it, playing it over in my mind again and again. Everything about that moment felt so right. My mind drifts off, lost in thoughts of Emmy. Nakai? Hello? It seems like I've drifted a bit too far. Huh? What? Egad, you've contracted some kind of amnesia. Someone get the nurse. The class chuckles at Muto's antics. Sorry, sir. Won't happen again and all that, right? Exactly. Muto brightens considerably. Well, lovely to hear. I'd hate to have my star pupils slacking off after all. I've been doing well, but I hardly qualify as a star pupil, I think. I'm fairly certain that this class is the sort that everyone does well in. It's just memorizing formulas. True to my word, I managed to pay attention for the rest of the class. Okay. May I have a word with you? I wonder if I'm in trouble from earlier. Sure. Am I in trouble? Muto looks genuinely confused for a moment. Beg your pardon? He tilts his head to one side and thinks for a moment. Oh, that. No, no. You're not in any sort of trouble. There's just a question I want to ask you. What's that? Nothing terrible. I was just wondering what your plans for after graduation are. Are you going to university? Yeah, I guess. Can't really see a reason not to go. Given any thought on what you'll study? Not really, no. I figure I'll come up with something when I get there. Muto laughs. Taking things as they come, eh? I'd argue against it, but that's how I did things when I went to university. Well, not really. I knew I'd go into a science, I just wasn't sure which one. Ended up with physics, but could just as well have gone for astronomy or what have you. Actually, I did go for chemistry first, but there were all sorts of things. Muto trails off and frowns slightly. It takes a minute for him to recover his train of thought, and I wait patiently for him to continue. So, anyway, I did a lot of physics as well, because I had an interest in that, but I wasn't sure if it was for me. So I went back to chemistry, and here we are. Yes? He smiles at me enthusiastically, as if waiting for me to confirm that yes, here is where we are. Somehow I get the feeling that Muto had a plan for this conversation, but I'll be damned if I can figure it out. I'm sorry, I'm not following you. Muto frowns and rubs his chin a bit, looking perplexed. He then snaps his fingers as if he remembered what the point of all this was. Hey Tiff, how's it going? Right. Yes. You. Me? Yes. You should look into studying one of the sciences. You're fantastic at it. Unless you'd rather just go into math. Muto makes a sour face. Not a big fan of straight math. I always like the experiments more than the proofs. Pretty decent. Had my first break in a while today, so I've been playing Minecraft. Oh, nice, nice. I'm doing good. My internet is fixed, so hopefully streams from now on will be less dying whenever I want to play a Gundam animation. We'll see how it goes. I'm also still very tired from work that ended like an hour and a half ago. So, this is a later stream for me, and I figured I'd make it something simple. So, Katawa Shoujo, I'm just reading. You're saying I should study science at university? Muto seems thrown off balance by my question. Well, sort of. You could also join the science club. Trouble is, there's not actually a science club. But there could be. You could even be a charter member. A founding father. Of course, you'd need to find other members. Well, only if you wanted to. We could just start up with the two of us. And, I could give you things to read, and we could talk about them. And I could help you get ready for university and such as well. Wait. Muto rummages around in his briefcase and tosses me a book. Read that. If it's interesting, then we can talk about it. A brief history of time? I don't know if I actually want to read this, but Muto seems pretty excited about it. What's it about? Time, space, space-time, black holes and such. And it's not that dense. Just to see if that sort of thing's interesting for you. You understand? Hang around after class, and we can either discuss it, or I can show you how to make explosives in the lab. He waves a hand at my quizzical expression. Joking, sorry. Still, I've kept you here long enough for now. Think about science as a career path, Nakai. I think you'd enjoy it. Okay. I will. Thank you for the book. Yeah, Muto is a very science-driven teacher. And in his words, we're his star pupil, so it's like he can actually talk to us about something. And not just kind of drone on and on to people that don't really care. Yeah, Muto's different. Okay, I was about to say, bomb making isn't exactly a great thing to put on your college applications. Yeah, he's just trying to get our main character here to stick around and actually be interested in science. Actually, this is a good question. Tiff, you ever heard of Katawa Shoujo? Oh, okay, I'll give you the brief thing about it though. About it. Katawa Shoujo, if directly translated from Japanese, is Cripple Girls. This is a visual novel where you go to where you end up having to go to a school that are for the physically disabled. Because you too find out you are physically disabled. You have a heart condition, which you nearly die from in the very beginning. So you meet a few girls, and then you get on a path to one of them. And it's not even a joke kind of thing, too. It takes itself seriously. I've already gone through one route on stream, which nearly had me break down. So, no PE. I mean, PE exists. Our character is just exempt from it, because too much physical activity could give us a heart attack. We do light exercise, though, which is kind of a main thing in the route we're on right now. We go running every morning with the girl whose route we're on, so our heart can get that little bit stronger. The most insane thing, though, is this was made by a bunch of random people off of 4chan. They got, they used the concept art from at the end of some Japanese doujin from 2000, and then just kind of ran with it. A bunch of them got together, started plotting things out, writing it, and then 2015, I think? Something like that, they fully released it. And it is one of the very well-written visual novels out there. Because it's not a meme, it's not a gimmick, like what you'd expect. It takes itself seriously. It's very heartwarming and heart-wrenching. The last round I was on, I nearly broke down in tears. And I played this before, and it still got to me. The first route, I was on the route for the blind girl, Lily. This route, I'm on Emmy's route, who has no legs. There's also a girl with burns across half her body, one who's deaf and mute, and another that has no arms. All have their own separate routes, their own distinct personalities, and they're written very, very well. If there's like any kind of visual novel you could potentially start with, this would be one. Because it's free. 100% free. Alright, let's continue on. I leave the classroom and look up at the clock. Quite a chunk of time to kill until Emmy's out of practice. Guess I'll give this book a look. I should probably shower as well. Showering before a date's only proper, right? I head back to the dorms. I wonder where I'm supposed to meet Emmy anyway. She said after practice, but she didn't say where I should find her. I guess I could just swing by the track. That's probably best anyway. If she needs a shower, I can just wait for her in her room or something. Or in the hallway, I guess. That would be better as well. I take a quick shower, remembering to take my medication once I hop out. Now, for a look at this book. Okay, I guess we just skip over the date. I wake with a start. Shit, what time is it? Glance at the clock reveals I've been asleep for nearly an hour. Thank goodness. Emmy's practice should be finishing up soon. I throw on some casual clothes and head for the track. Somehow I get the feeling we won't be doing anything fancy for dinner. Emmy doesn't strike me as a very fancy sort of person. Still, I suppose there's a lot I have yet to know about Emmy. Despite our newfound closeness, I still feel like I don't know her as well as I should. Oh well, I have lots of time to fix that. To be honest, I'm looking forward to getting to know her more. I'm so caught up in my own thoughts that I hardly register that I'm already at the track. Emmy is nowhere to be found. I don't even see any signs of the track team. This could be embarrassing. I turn to head toward the girls' dormitory when I hear a shout. Hey, Hisao! I turn around to see Emmy making a beeline for me with her gym bag slung over her shoulder. She's changed into some decidedly more casual clothing. A pair of shorts and an olive green top. Her running blades have been replaced by more realistic-looking legs that probably wouldn't fool anyone. Emmy doesn't seem to care about that, a fact which makes me smile. Hey, you came! I mean, I figured you would, but still. Suddenly find myself wrapped in a rather affectionate hug, and it proves to be impossible for me to keep what must be the world's largest grin off my face. Well, of course I came! I'd be crazy not to, right? Emmy ponders for a moment. You know, that's true. I mean, I'm pretty amazing after all. I shrug in response. I certainly think so. It's an offhand remark, which is why I'm surprised to see that it seems to have caught Emmy by surprise. She blushes and smiles warmly at me before planting a kiss on my lips. Now it's my turn to be surprised. Emmy steps back, resting her weight on her back heel, looking pleased with herself. My brain fumbles for an appropriate response. Wow, girl kisses you and you don't know what to say? Damn, bro. This isn't the first time she's done this. I should compliment you more often. Why are you surprised, Tiff? I already said we're on her route. You feel like a third wheel? Oh my god. Emmy laughs and gives me a playful shove. Jerk. I throw an arm around Emmy's shoulders and am pleased when she immediately leans into me, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. So, where to? I'm not actually sure. Where do people go on dates around here anyway? That's a damned good question. I've got no idea. Why don't we just head down to the Aura Mart and grab something portable? Emmy's face brightens at this idea. Okay, last time we went on a picnic with her, Tiff, we got rained out. Like, immediately. Like, the minute we got to the park, set everything up, it rained. So, yeah, picnics aren't exactly, good for us.
A picnic! I think you're onto something, Hisao.
Emmy snakes her arm around my waist, and we get to head for the front gate. I'm entirely unsure of what I'm meant to do in this situation, but at least Emmy seems to be equally clueless. Should bring an umbrella? Yeah. Best part was when he was going to that first picnic, they did check the weather. It said it was gonna rain. It looked like it was gonna rain. We debated whether or not to bring an umbrella, but Emmy is just very headstrong. She's just like, it's fine, and then she started yelling at the sky, telling it to stop raining. That's just the kind of person she is. Despite the relaxing feeling of being with Emmy, I still can't help feeling a little tense. What if I do something wrong? I hate to make an ass out of myself. The trip to the Aura Mart is accompanied by Emmy's chatter about how practice went. I keep quiet for the most part, merely enjoying the warmth of being around Emmy. We get a few odd looks from passers-by, but I don't mind. Wind up buying some bread and instant noodles, realizing too late that we cannot actually cook the latter in the park.
Oh well, I'll make it for lunch or something.
That'll work. Park is located after a brief loss of direction that I blame entirely on Emmy. She, of course, blames me. We find a spot beneath a tree and sit down. I lean back against the trunk. Emmy sits across from me. I guess we should have brought a blanket or something to sit on, huh? Emmy shrugs.
I don't mind.
Neither do I. Emmy tosses me a package of bread and we dig in. Curry bread. Interesting. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to what I grabbed in the store. So you went to the bread section, grabbed a loaf of bread, threw it in your basket, put it on the counter, paid for it, picked it up, and then walked out without ever looking at it? Really? My god.
Hey, Hisao, you look like your bread's a little spicy.
I shake my head, trying in vain to keep an image of manliness. Ah, it's hardly spicy at all.
I see, I see. That must be why your face has gotten so red.
Yes, exactly. The lack of spice has, gotten my blood up. Because of the disappointment. Emmy laughs and swallows the last of her bread.
Well, if you can't handle it, I'll be glad to take it off your hands.
Hey, just because you wolfed down yours so quickly doesn't mean I'm just going to give you mine. That's what you do, man. You give your girlfriend your food because as much as she says, no, I don't want anything, she's going to take it anyway. Just accept that fact and move along. Emmy mock pouts, causing me to nearly choke on my bread with laughter.
Aw, come on, Hisao. Aren't you supposed to be concerned with making sure I've got enough to eat now? We're dating, you know. So...
Emmy looks troubled all of a sudden.
I can't say I feel any different.
Hmm? What do you mean by that?
What makes this a date? It's just what we would have done anyway, really. But this should feel different because before, when we had lunch, we were friends. And now we're at a level above friends.
You sound like Rin. Rin is the armless girl. They're friends, and Rin is very out there. And I mean out there. Like talking in riddles all the time, questioning everything. Laughter escapes and Emmy grins.
Well, she might have put the thought into my mind. We've talked about that sort of thing before.
Really? About me?
Not really. Just... stuff, really. Rin thinks that the change of a label from friend to girlfriend seems arbitrary most of the time. Like there's no difference between the two.
I can think of at least one, you know. You don't tend to kiss your friends quite as much. What, you're not gonna kiss a homie? For the second time today, Emmy blushes slightly and giggles.
I suppose you're right.
Exactly. I'm always right about things like this. Emmy rolls her eyes and chuckles. Obviously never had a homie.
Guess you're pretty smart, huh?
I nod in agreement. Yep. Even Muto thinks so. He thinks I should go into some scientific study after graduation. Emmy raises an eyebrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been thinking I might actually do just that. Really, the more I consider the idea, the more it appeals to me. I make a mental note to look into it a little more closely. So, what are you thinking of doing after graduation? Still planning on running? Emmy shrugs, seeming almost a bit hesitant.
I don't know. If I'm good enough and I can find a team, I guess.
You mean you aren't sure?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
Really? You probably should, you know. Graduation isn't that far off. Emmy fidgets a little nervously.
Yeah, well, it's far enough, right? Besides, I've got other things to think about.
There's a mischievous flash behind Emmy's eyes, and I suddenly find myself gloriously pinned under the against the tree.
Like making sure this is a real date, right? I mean, if we don't kiss, then it's not a date at all, right?
I suppose so. Strawberries and curry. Not the best combination, but I don't think I mind. Yes, gloriously. Emmy sits back on my legs and grins again.
There. Science would approve, right?
I have the oddest mental image of Muto nodding seriously and making a mark on some checklist. I can't help laughing at the idea.
Well, I'll admit, this is the first time I've ever witnessed a kiss being met with laughter. Should I feel offended?
No. I'm sure science approves. Emmy beams at me, and I find it increasingly difficult to keep my brain functioning properly.
Oh, good.
It's at this point I notice that Emmy has stolen the remainder of my curry bread while I was otherwise occupied with images of teachers wielding clipboards. Hey! Emmy tries to look innocent, but considering she's just crammed the last bits of my bread into her mouth, it does not appear to be working.
Sorry, can't resist.
Thief! A shrug from my companion is all I get in response. You used your feminine wiles on me! I wasn't that hungry anyway, but I still feel that the point needs to be made. Emmy seems confused by the phrase feminine wiles, but the understanding dawns on her features after a moment's thought.
Wasn't anything of the sort. You're laughing. Feminine wiles don't involve laughing.
I guess I can't argue with this. That doesn't change your thievery. Emmy laughs at my injured tone and gives me a playful shove.
Fine. You can have the instant noodles.
Are you kidding? That stuff's terrible! If anything, you should definitely eat it as punishment. Another laugh from the girl sitting on my legs. Both of which have fallen asleep by now. Timber! Oh, that was too good. I twitch one leg to try waking it up, which has the unintended effect of unbalancing Emmy, who falls to the side with a startled eep. Oops. Sorry about that. Legs fell asleep on me. Emmy remains on the ground, giggling. Stand up a little shakily, feeling the nerves in my legs return to normal. My eyes wander over the scenery before fixing on the figure of Emmy, who has yet to get up. Her hair is splayed out around her head, her arms are spread, and laughter is bubbling up through her mouth. Everything about Emmy seems condensed into this one image. Her energy, her spirit, her childish giggling. The urge to lay down on the grass with her rises swiftly from the back of my mind to the forefront of my thoughts. And indeed, I'm convinced that I would love nothing more than to do just that. Unfortunately, the sun has set and it's probably time for us to get back to the dormitories. While Emmy may be happy to stay out here all night, I don't think I have that ability. Besides, homework soon beckons. It wouldn't make sense to start thinking about things like university and then slack off, would it? I extend a hand to Emmy to help her up. We should probably get going. Emmy makes a sour face.
You're right.
She grabs my proffered hand, and I pull her onto her feet and into a hug. This time, I'm the one who kisses her, unable to resist having Emmy against me. Seems a shame to leave, you know?
Yeah, it does. But if we don't get back to school soon, we'll probably get into trouble.
Emmy pokes me in the ribs playfully.
And you need to do your homework, I'm sure.
Sadly, you're absolutely right. I throw my arm around her shoulders, and we make the trek back to school, accompanied by occasional bouts of laughter as our conversation jumps from subject to subject. Everything from running, to school, to the peculiar way that one of the cafeteria workers smells. All too soon, we find ourselves outside the girls' dormitory building.
Well, I guess I better be going then.
I guess so, huh? Emmy grins at me again with that mischievous look.
Are you gonna be able to survive without me?
I laugh. I'm sure I'll manage.
How terrible! Aren't you supposed to say something like, I'll be counting the seconds you were away?
Nah, I don't think so. Emmy pulls me down into a quick goodbye kiss and steps back, looking unexpectedly shy.
Thanks for dinner. I really had fun. Honestly, I did.
So did I. I think we shall have to do it again sometime. Emmy laughs at my deadpan delivery and nods.
See you bright and early tomorrow morning, right? You gotta run off that bread after all.
Of course, despite the fact that you ate most of it.
Yes, despite that. See you later, Hisao.
As Emmy turns to head inside, I notice something weird. Something so weird that I'm surprised I didn't notice it earlier. She's limping slightly, favoring the left leg. Hey, Emmy!
Hmm?
Is your leg okay? Emmy looks confused, or at least fakes confusion.
What are you talking about?
Her Your right leg. You're limping. There's the briefest flash of concern on Emmy's face. Either she didn't want me to know, or she didn't think I'd notice. Or prefer to think she just didn't realize it.
Oh, that.
She shrugs casually.
Must have knocked it a little out of alignment during the picnic. No idea what would have caused that, of course.
I think back to being pinned under the tree. Ah. You should have told me. Could have stopped and fixed it, you know. Emmy waves her hand airily.
It's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it, okay, Sal? It's fine.
Why do I get the feeling that she's convincing herself as well as me? Alright, so I get a choice here. Do I just let it rest? Or am I going to try and press Emmy for more info or just anything? Just kind of, you know, not let it go. Because, I mean, this is a girl with no legs limping. Because she's done this before. After a track meet very early on in Act 2, she was also kind of limping. And she just kind of waved it off like, oh, it's nothing. I personally would double check. Yeah, we're gonna press her for a little more info. Don't want her to fall down the stairs or something? Yeah, exactly. Are you absolutely sure? You don't want to go ahead and adjust it before heading up the stairs? You could get hurt if you don't, right?
I said it was fine, Hasao. Seriously, don't worry about it. I've got some experience in these matters, after all.
Yeah, I suppose so. Emmy grins reassuringly.
Honestly, Hasao, I appreciate the concern, but I really am okay. Now, really, I need to get going. Your attempts to keep me around are doomed to fail.
Of course. Just prolonging the goodbye, I suppose. Another grin lights up Emmy's face.
Good night, Hasao.
Good night. Ah, you saw through us. As she limps inside, I find myself hoping she's okay, despite her reassurances that she's fine. I think I can call this a successful first date. Hell, any day that ends with Emmy pinning me under a tree to kiss me can't be bad, can it? I head back to my room, mentally thank the gods that Kenji doesn't ambush me in the hallway, and get started on my homework. Oh yeah, that's a male student we're sort of friends with. Kenji. This guy is... Whew. I'm pretty sure he's gonna show up again. To him, everything is a feminist conspiracy. I'll leave it at that. everything is a feminist conspiracy. The morning is far too early for my taste. Doesn't help that I had trouble sleeping last night. There were simply too many things to think about. My mind refused to slow down. Oh yeah, Kenji's a treat. Instead, I replay the rooftop, the park, and everything else over and over in my mind. There's a small part of my mind that's still paranoid that this has all been some kind of joke. That I'll meet up with Emmy at the track, and she'll act like nothing happened yesterday. Pushing these thoughts to the back of my mind, I throw on my running clothes and open the door. Emmy's waiting for me with her usual smile.
You're late. Or at least, you're not early today. Are you tired or something?
I find myself ruefully rubbing the back of my head. Something like that, yeah. Lots to think about and all that. Emmy giggles at my mild understatement.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that well either. I was actually glad you weren't early, 'cause I wasn't early either.
I wonder if the same thing kept us awake. The image of her weeping face passes through my mind. Yeah, Tiff, the last stream with this, she was sick for most of the day, so we just kind of went to check on her. Ended up just kind of lying around in bed with her. She fell asleep, and then she started having a nightmare and crying. And then she admits that she kind of has them every so often. So yeah, despite her bright, cheery exterior, there's something inside that's bugging her. What kept you up? Emmy's expression falters, but she quickly notices my curiosity and forces a smile.
Nothing important.
She's obviously not telling me something. Question is, should I press the issue? Something's clearly been bothering her for a while. I want to help her, but would it just come off as me being nosy? She's got to know that I care about her, though. Are you sure? If something's bothering you, I'm here to help you sort it out. Emmy laughs then, but it's not her usual laugh. There's an edge to it that seems almost bitter.
Sorted out? I'm not sure it can be sorted out, Hisao.
An almost grim smile crosses her lips. It's like a smile of resignation.
I don't think you could help me anyway.
That hurts. I don't want to say that it hurts to her, but it does. Doesn't she realize I want to be there for her when things go wrong? Well, I won't push you on the matter. But I'm here for you if you decide later that you'd like to talk about it. It might help. I can see the debate raging behind Emmy's eyes. It seems like she wants to tell me, but she's not sure whether or not she can. Hey, forget about it for now, okay? We've got running to do. The mention of running, something that she can handle, brings Emmy back to her usual self.
Right. Hurry up and stretch it out, Hisao. We've got to get moving.
She takes off like a shot, far quicker than I'm used to. Still, I try to keep pace with her, recklessly testing my limits. Gives me a feeling of freedom, like my heart is no longer important. I find myself wanting to laugh, filled with a feeling of moving beyond what I once called my boundaries. The nurse's warnings to not overdo things echo in my mind, and I disregard them. This feeling I have, this willingness to risk a heart attack for something so trivial as a morning run, feels out of character for me. But is it? Or rather, should it be? I've got a weak heart, sure. It'll never be capable of the kind of speed and endurance Emmy's capable of. Though I probably wouldn't be able to get that good even if I had a healthy heart. As we round the final bend, I feel my legs screaming in protest. But for the first time, I ignore them. I accelerate to finish at a sprint, nearly catching up to Emmy. That was never going to happen, of course. Still, I feel surprisingly good. Oh, sure, my legs feel like they're about to catch fire, but I'm having trouble staying upright. But there's been a shift of some sort today. And it's all thanks to the girl grinning at the finish line, waiting for me. That felt a little faster than usual. My comment is met with a grin and a shrug.
Can't have you think I was going soft on you, now can I? But you managed to handle it just fine.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Still feeling the high from the run and moved by a surge of gratitude, I seize Emmy in a hug. Thanks. Really, I'm not just saying that. I'm in your debt. Emmy seems flustered by my words, squirming uncomfortably.
Don't be silly, Hisao. Someone had to haul you out here, didn't they? And it's not like you're doing anything for me, right? I needed a running partner, remember?
I shake my head, still pointedly not letting go of Emmy, who stops squirming and merely looks up at me with a quickly deepening blush that almost seems out of character. No, that's not true. You wanted a running partner, but you didn't need one. If I hadn't shown up the day after the festival, you would still run, right? But it doesn't work the other way around. I only managed to make it out a few times before the festival. And without you, I probably wouldn't have made it out at all after that. Emmy smiles at me and prods my chest with one finger.
You are pretty lazy, Hisao.
Hey, I was giving you a compliment.
Well, you're welcome, I guess.
I'll pay you back somehow.
Oh, well... That's not necessary, you know. I mean, I kinda like you, Asao. And being able to run with you in the mornings isn't exactly a bad deal for me either, so...
For someone who gets so much praise, she seems unused to gratitude. I can't think of anything else to say, so we fall silent. I become aware of Emmy's breathing, the dampness of her clothing, and of the scent of her. Stop smelling her, damn it! It's like anytime you get close to her, you comment on, she smells like something, usually strawberries. Or sweat. Asao is weird. Coming off to anyone else, it would stink. Coming off of Emmy, it fits her in a way nothing else could. Her skin is cool, slick with sweat, and a breeze causes goosebumps to rise. Almost without thinking about it, I lean down and meet Emmy's mouth, which has already moved to meet my own. Her lips are soft, and she hums happily as we kiss, sending vibrations from her mouth to mine. There's a startling rightness to everything about this moment. We fit one another perfectly. The kiss ends, and I finally let my arms drop back to my sides. Emmy is smiling warmly at me and giggles again.
Come on, Asao. We'd better go see the nurse.
Then it happens. As she turns to begin walking, she gives out a tiny yelp and stumbles forward. Emmy! I leap to steady her and notice with some concern that she's favoring the same leg as last night. Your leg. Emmy seems panicked and pushes away from me.
It's fine.
My expression must seem hurt, because she hastens to apologize.
Sorry. I didn't mean to push you like that. I was just...
She stumbles for something to say.
It's nothing, really.
Hey, don't worry about it. She's so flustered, I decide to shrug the whole thing off. There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach now that won't go away. I tried to step in and help her, and she pushed me away. Smiling, I shove those thoughts to the back of my mind and concentrate on Emmy. I just don't want you getting hurt, that's all.
You don't have to worry about me, honest. I'm fine.
Yes, you say that, but I don't believe you. Why won't you tell me what's wrong? It's like she gets offended by me trying to help. What am I supposed to make of that? I'm still trying to sort out what happened on the track as we arrive in front of the nurse's office. Hope it isn't something serious. Maybe she just needs to readjust her prosthetic. Maybe. Hopefully. She does have to get them readjusted every now and again. In fact, every time she runs in the mornings or otherwise, she has to go to the nurse to check, just to have them checked. Just to see how, how it's been rubbing against her, what's left of her legs. Emmy raises her hand to knock, hesitates, and turns to me, smiling guiltily.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Of course.
Can you tell the nurse that I'll see him later? I just remembered I've got some stuff to take care of before class. So I really need to get moving.
I peer at her closely, and she fidgets under my stare. Yeah, she's clearly just avoiding the nurse. That leg of hers. Well, whatever. I said I'd help, and so I will. But I'll make damn sure she sees the nurse before the day's out. Yeah, okay. I'll let him know. Emmy looks like I've just given her a pony on Christmas.
Thank you so much. You're the best, Hisao.
I'm rewarded for my complacency in her lie by a kiss that makes it all worth it. Or so I tell myself. As Emmy heads out of the building, trying hard not to let her limp show, I knock on the door of the office. Ah, Hisao. Come on in. I don't see Emmy with you. She's not sick again, is she? From the tone of his voice, I don't think the nurse is expecting me to say, yes, she's ill. She said she'd forgotten to do something, and so she had to skip out. But she'll see you later today. The nurse heaves an exasperated sigh. Honestly, that girl. Hmm? She's been avoiding me. Yesterday, she was in and out of here without even taking off her prosthetics. And now this. Well, at least it's not just me Emmy doesn't want worrying. That's a comfort, I guess? Still, I feel like I should say something about her leg. I'd said I'd lie for her, but she really needs to see him. Now that you mention it, she was limping pretty badly today. And last night as well. The nurse's eyes narrow at the words, last night. And what exactly were you two doing last night? We were, on a date. The nurse raises his eyebrows as if surprised. Really? Interesting. Huh? Oh, nothing. His gaze turns thoughtful, and then he grins at me. You don't think you could use some of that boyfriend charm to get her to come see me today, could you? Of course. I was planning on doing that anyway. I think she's really hurt, just pretending she isn't. Yes. She does that. Afraid I'll make her stop running. Will you? I don't like to. But if it's bad enough that she's been limping, well, I guess I'll have to see what's wrong for myself before I make that call. I see. Emmy not allowed to run? Perish the thought. I don't know if she'd be able to function without running. No wonder she's reluctant to admit anything's wrong. Well, I'll make sure she sees you. Good. Oh, and before I forget... He grins at me again in what feels like a vaguely threatening manner. Don't forget that I know what medications you're on. You be careful around Emmy. Got it? Wow. He looks serious too. Got it. Don't hurt Emmy. Wouldn't dream of it. Grand. I'd hate for you to be late. Huh? Late. As in, the late Hasao Nakai. This dude is threatening to kill us if we hurt Emmy. He's gonna give us the wrong medication, so we probably do have a heart attack. What a terrible but also kind nurse. Frowns briefly, dissatisfied. Sounded better in my head. Well, at any rate, get out of here before you miss your first class. Yeah, he, as part of earlier in the route, he says he was there helping Emmy when she first lost her legs in the hospital, and now he's at this school, and she's a student here, so he's pretty friendly with her and obviously looks out for her. You've got things to do, I'm sure. Shoo! As I leave, I notice the nurse pulling out his phone and dialing a number. Mako, your daughter's being a pain in the ass again. I'd better head back to my room, or I really will be late. Hey, wasn't he supposed to check my heart rate? The lunch bell sounds, and I bring myself out of the stupor I slipped into during the morning classes. My lack of sleep last night, coupled with the increased pace of this morning's run, has left me a little exhausted. Despite that, I find myself skipping stairs up to the roof. There's a thrill of excitement now, in addition to the pleasure one gets from eating lunch with one's friends. True, both Emmy and Rin are still my friends, but Emmy has become more than that now. Rin is back in her usual spot on the roof, almost as if she'd never been absent. Feeling better, I take it? A raised eyebrow is my reward for speaking. Better than what? Better than you felt yesterday. Rin gives my question some serious thought. I'm not sure. I think I might have felt rather good for some of yesterday, but it's all fuzzy. Too much cold medicine? Well, I was asleep, and that usually is pretty good. But I can't remember what it feels like to be asleep, because I'm not conscious for it. It's a real problem. Then again, if I knew how good it felt, I might not sleep anymore. But this way, I keep trying, so I guess that's how I can keep from being overtired. An eternal mystery to keep you sleeping at night? Maybe mystery is the wrong word. Intangibility might be the proper way to describe it. I see. No, I don't see it all. I have no idea what she's talking about, but that's okay, since I rarely do. Do you remember what sleeping feels like? Like yesterday. Do you remember what you felt like sleeping yesterday? Well, I actually didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday. Maybe that's because you remember subconsciously. Actually, I think I was worrying about Emmy. Doesn't Emmy worry enough about herself? I hadn't considered that, but it gives me pause. True, but she would ask for help if she needed it. Rin frowns, and I raise an eyebrow. Will I get a proper answer? Probably not. Is there something she should be asking for help with? Her leg, for starters. This seems to catch Rin's interest. Leg? It's hurt, but she won't see the nurse about it. Rin shakes her head in disapproval. You have to make her. Like she makes me go to class. For her own good. Otherwise, she could lose her legs again. And that's just too weird. Losing things twice. Especially if you don't find them again to begin with. Unless prosthetics are the same as finding something. But that's a different kind of lost, isn't it? I think so. I wonder.
Wonder what?
Emmy seems to have snuck up on Rin and me, though Rin doesn't seem especially surprised. Which is itself unsurprising, I suppose. Rin manages to sit herself upright quite expertly, throwing her upper body forward and using her momentum to right herself. Your leg. How does it feel? That earns me a frown and a bit of a glare.
It's okay, I think. Not worth worrying about.
Tell that to the nurse. He's quite insistent that you visit him, you know. Emmy pouts like I've just told her she's been grounded.
He worries too much. It's not a big deal. Just a little soreness.
I try to resist rolling my eyes in exasperation. If it's nothing, then you should have no problem seeing him, right? Emmy narrows her eyes suspiciously.
Did he put you up to this?
Well, maybe. A little. That's not the point. I would have reminded you to see him anyway. Just pick her up and carry her to the nurse. I mean, yes, that is something to do. It's something you could do. She is rather small. It would be terrible to see you really hurt and not do anything about it. That would make it worse. And I don't really want to see you hurt, you know? Call me crazy, but I kind of would prefer to see you happy and healthy. With each statement, Emmy's frown fades a little more, until eventually she's grinning. A little shyly.
Well, if you're gonna put it that way, then I guess I'll have to see him. Otherwise, you'll keep worrying, and then I'll never hear the end of it, right?
That's right. I'll keep bugging you about it. And that might put a damper on our dates. How's the food, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. How was your day, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy.
Sao, I think I'm ready to go all the way.
Talk to the nurse, Emmy. See? Doesn't work that well. Emmy giggles at my high-pitched rendition of her own voice and gives me an affectionate shove.
My voice isn't that high, jerk.
Oh, Emmy's face. Oh my god, I love it. I thought it was pretty accurate. Emmy and I stare at Rin for a while before I burst into laughter. Emmy crosses her arms and huffs, mock offended.
You're both jerks.
What? What the hell is that word? Calumnies? What? Okay, one moment. I'm gonna find out how in the hell you pronounce that.
Calumnies. Calumnies.
Okay. Calumnies. Such vile calumnies from you, young woman. I'm stunned that you would call me, of all people, a jerk. Honestly, I don't know what to think. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me.
You ass. So, Rin, how's the art club these days?
Rin, seemingly as surprised by the sudden change of topic as I am, takes a minute to think before answering. I believe it is okay. Although Nomiya keeps telling me to work harder. But I don't think he understands my methods.
He always struck me as slightly creepy.
Rin ponders this statement for a while. I've never really noticed. But I don't pay that much attention to him most days, so maybe that's why. How often do you meet?
Thinking of joining Hisao?
What? Nah, I've already decided to join a club.
Really? Which one?
Well, it's not really much of a club, to be honest.
Oh, you joined the tea club?
No, I joined the science club, I think. Emmy looks highly confused.
You have a science club?
Not really. It's just me.
Hisao, that's not a club. That's sitting in your room reading books.
No, I mean it's just me and Muto. I'm just the only student so far.
Muto? Really?
A thought strikes her.
Oh, is that what you were talking about yesterday? Your meeting with Muto?
Yeah, that was our first meeting, I guess. Emmy giggles.
Nerd.
Hey, I can't help being clever.
You know, I could have used your help years ago. You should have had your heart attack earlier in life, Hisao.
I laugh, and then realize this is probably one of the very rare times I've laughed about my heart attack. Hindsight.
Yeah.
Ringing of the bell ends our conversation. Guess we'd better go.
Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Rin. You too.
Rin has apparently begun to doze off, so Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it.
Sorry, but you need to go to class.
I disagree, but maybe if I nap in class, I'll get it this time. Changing location is sometimes helpful for that kind of thing. Neither Emmy or I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway, Rin in tow. Oh, great, these two again. I turn to enter the classroom to be met by the duo of Shizune and Misha. Shizune is deaf and mute. Misha is her interpreter and best friend. They are in the same class as me. They are the entire student council. They keep trying to get me to join. That's all you need to know about these two for now. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep from breaking into a fit of giggles while she translates Shizune's latest rant.
While we are pleased, nay thrilled, to see how well you've managed to make new friends and forge relationships, and with such a cutie too, Hee-chan.
I think that last part was probably Misha.
We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really? That's disappointing, Shi-chan. By Section 8 of the Code of Conduct laid out in the Student Handbook. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse, as we are feeling lenient. And the paperwork required to punish the both of you would only add to the already mountainous volume of work which confronts us, the sole members of the Student Council. And besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning, and please refrain from such displays in the future. At least when Shizune can see you, Hee-chan.
This whole spiel is so patently ridiculous that I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I for one feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions, and will strive to contain my baser impulses which, I fear, may impel me towards such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty matters, but will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future. At least when Shizune's watching. This last line is delivered with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter. Insert wahaha here. I refuse to do a wahaha in the Misha voice, because I feel it'd be too loud and too cringy.
Well said, Hee-chan.
Chuckling a little to myself, we enter the classroom. Class is uneventful, and after the final bell rings, I find myself alone with Muto again. So, it looks like we've all assembled for the second meeting of the Science Club. Or is it the first? What do you think? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Well, we did form the club yesterday, didn't we? That seems like club business, so we can safely call yesterday a meeting. Muto smiles in his usual stilted and awkward way. I wonder if the muscles in his face are just not shaped correctly to let him smile naturally. I don't really have a knack for this, I think. Logical thought processes, that is. I guess so? The scientist speaks with authority, so the answer here is yes, I do. When the world wants to know how it works, we tell it, even if all we've got is a decent hypothesis. But we must sound certain anyway, because we're the authorities on the subject, right? He chuckles to go along with his awkward smile at his awkward joke. I'm doing my best not to grimace, but I don't think I'm being too successful. That's entirely false, of course. We know a lot, sure, but nobody's an expert on how the world works, if only because nobody can be sure. With no certainty, there are no experts. But we like to pretend, sometimes. There's some things we can be certain of, right? Yes, but no. We know gravity's there, for example. To illustrate, Muto picks up a pencil and drops it. See? Still there, but it's good to check every once in a while. That's why you'll still see researchers mucking about with gravity. We're pretty sure we know how it works, but there's always a chance that something isn't how we think it is. So you check, and check, and check. That's science in a nutshell, Hisao. The whole time I've listened feeling rather spellbound. Muto seems to really be passionate about this stuff. I think. It's hard to tell sometimes. How the world works. How humans work. How the universe works. All these questions to be answered. And depending on what I go into, maybe I could even figure out a way to fix my heart. That said, I don't think that's really a priority for me. Besides, as we start discussing the book he gave me yesterday, I find myself more and more interested in that than my heart condition. Just a couple of nerds nerding it out. Even before we realize it, an hour's gone by. Well, let's call this meeting over for now, okay? We'll have another meeting tomorrow, or, the day after. He considers this for a moment. Call it the day after. I've got a lot of grading to do. Okay. See you then. As I exit the classroom, I realize I don't really have anything to do tonight. Emmy and I didn't make plans, so I guess I'll go to the library. Beats doing homework in my room anyway. Library always seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in good condition, it takes a little effort. I've got several books that are so well worn the pages are barely clinging to the spine. It seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care. I make my way to the main desk, where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves.
Hello, Hisao. Good to see you again. What are you looking for this time?
Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room is all. Yuko nods.
Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you can help me look for something?
Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings a finger to her lips and looks around furtively. She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers.
Come closer.
I take a few hesitant steps forward while feeling distinctly unnerved. Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper.
I'm on the trail of the Yamaku cat burglar.
The what?
Shh! The walls have ears, Hisao! Or they might. But listen, those missing books, remember them?
Yeah?
Well, they aren't missing. They were stolen. I'm convinced of it.
I remember you saying something of the sort earlier.
How do you know?
Yuko leans in closer and, if possible, whispers even lower.
Because I found one of his hiding places.
You did what? Yuko looks triumphant.
Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. 3 books I've been looking for, all there. I'd suspected a thief before, but this proves it.
So did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I suggested she walk around naked.
Are you nuts? You can't know I'm on to him. He might go to ground and evade capture.
Huh. So what do you need my help with then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. Okay, how close is she getting now? Like, she keeps leaning closer. She's be making out with our ear. Ugh.
Gotta be a spy for me.
Spy?
Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know? Keep an eye out for suspicious activity.
What constitutes suspicious anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, but I'll wager he barely goes to class, much less sneaks into the library to pilfer books. Still, what's the harm in saying yes? At least it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Yuko straightens up and claps excitedly.
Great! Now, hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you?
Pretty well, actually. I've been running in the mornings with
Emi Ibarazaki, right?
Yeah. How did you know?
I served you two in the tea house, remember? I deduced if you were going to run with anyone, it would probably be her.
She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Anyways, yes. We've been running in the mornings. And, we kinda started dating. Yuko claps her hands together excitedly.
Really? That's great! I bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into the Shanghai that one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls.
Really? Yuko doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively.
Yep. I could tell you'd wind up with one of them, you know. I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Of course,
Her expression droops slightly.
I'm not so good at it myself.
I'm sure that's not true.
Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day, and I've not seen him since then.
Huh. That does seem kinda odd.
Doesn't it?
hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. I tend to try and calm her down further, but we both jump in surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko sighs to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. Emmy? What's up?
Oh, thank God. I haven't called your phone before, so I don't know if this number would work or whether you'd pick up, and I can't...
Whoa there, Emmy. Slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line, during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Something's got her terribly agitated, and it's starting to agitate me.
Can you stop by? Like, now? Or shortly after now? I really, really need to talk to you.
There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence that I don't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I've barely started saying things that don't quite make sense. Apparently. Where did I get barely from? Oy. Work took more out of me than I thought.
Okay, I'll be okay.
See you soon. I pressed the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket. Apologized to Yuko for running off, and run off. Perhaps at some point I would have stopped to think about the time or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter the girls' dorm at this hour. Except right now, I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and I'm greeted with a subdued "come in." Something is very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yes. But she's in a wheelchair. And her legs are missing. I glance around the room and see them sitting in a corner, looking like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin that is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken.
Hi, Hisao.
Looks like she's been crying, but if she was, she stopped now. I notice that I'm a little out of breath, having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't seem to mind the strain, though. I file this happy fact away for later consideration. Like when I'm not staring somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair. Realizing I've still not responded to her greeting, my brain lurches into gear. Emmy? What happened?
Guess I should have listened to you, Hisao. My leg's got a nasty infection. I'm not allowed to run on it for at least a couple of weeks.
She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her.
I can't even walk on it. I could have used a crutch or I kept one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop? I can't run on one leg. At least this way I can, I don't know, roll fast or something.
Yeah, that's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really effective. Emmy shrugs again.
It's just kind of a nuisance. I mean, you can't even eat up on the roof now. No wheelchair access.
Yeah, but that's not big. That's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together, and that's the important thing. That lopsided grin again. It hurts to look at. It's not permanent, is it? It's an infection, so it should go away, right? Yeah, it's a temp thing. She just can't wear or run on her prosthetics for a few weeks until it clears up. That's what she gets for pushing herself and ignoring everything. Just like, no, I'm fine, I'm totally good. When really, no, she's not good.
I suppose so, yeah. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in...
She thinks for a minute.
maybe 7 years? Something like that anyway.
Well, at least it's not more nerve damage or something. Yeah, it's just an infection from them rubbing too much against the stumps.
A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice.
Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's not like I've lost them permanently. But it's a pain in the ass all the same.
I nod sympathetically. There's not much else I can do after all. What am I gonna do? Say, I told you so? Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. But by the time I noticed, it was too late anyway. Do you need help with anything? That is, can I help with anything? Emmy shakes her head, and there's a bit of her usual grin back.
Nah, I can manage fine by myself. Although, if you want to help me over to my bed, it would save me the trouble of rolling over there myself.
I blush in spite of myself. Emmy giggles. Oh, Christ, I know what's coming.
You're such a prude, Hisao.
I'm not a prude. I just wouldn't want to take advantage of a young woman such as yourself. It's ungentlemanly. Oh, good Christ. But it's still daylight out. In the girls' dorm. Yeah, yeah. I'ma take this, and I'ma make it real big. And I mean real big. Yep. 'Cause I know what's coming. It ain't censored. At least most of it. Yep. This music is a dead giveaway. Emmy's got something on her mind. And so does Hisao. Yep. I wheel Emmy's chair to the bed and easily scoop her up and deposit her there. She quickly sorts herself out and sits on the side. A little lower than I thought. Oh well. She's actually a little heavier than she looks. It would be rude of me to observe this aloud, of course. No, Emmy! Don't use it as a distraction! Man, you're kinda heavy. There's a big smack sound effect. that just came up. I'll put that down for now until I feel like the scene is actually going to happen. Emmy hits me with a pillow. Ass. Just saying is all. Must be all that running. At the mention of running, Emmy's grin falters slightly. What if you oh my god.
Well, I guess I won't have to worry about that for a bit, huh? Maybe I'll lose some weight.
That's what you do to lose weight, right? Cease physical activity?
I'm pretty sure that's what the nurse would recommend.
Speaking of which, are you going to still be showing up in the mornings? I'd hate to run a
Aw, shit.
Emmy's sudden interjection, more a disquieted muttering than anything too profane, caused me to look over in shock. Could you imagine trying to explain that to the nurse? Yeah, that'd be a hell of a thing to explain. She's leaning forward, trying to cover the fact she's crying by covering her eyes with a hand. Of course, the subdued sobbing makes it pretty obvious that she's crying. Hey, I'm sorry. Forget I said anything, okay? I place a hand gingerly around her and pull her close. I can think of nothing else to say or do. How do you comfort someone who's just lost their legs again? Emmy wraps me in a hug and stays that way for a while. Sorry. I'm pretty bad at this whole comforting thing, I guess.
Don't say that. Fine, really.
Her voice is slightly muffled by my chest. I pat her head reassuringly. That's the spirit, right? You'll get through this fine. I know it. Besides, I'm here to help you. Remember? Emmy lifts her head and stares at me with tear-stained eyes.
Can you? Can you really?
And before we get suspended for inappropriate PDA times, hey, we're in the comfort and safety and privacy of her room. We ain't out in public. If we're gonna do what we're about to do in public, we'd be breaking some laws and not just rules. She's grinning lopsidedly. Something sparkles in her gaze. I can't tell if I'm being mocked or not. Of course. I mean, sure, you're a bit heavy, but... My witty comment is cut off by the sudden press of Emmy's lips on mine. I'm caught off guard, and I'm rewarded by hitting my head on the wall behind her bed. Ow. Emmy pulls back, trying to look concerned rather than like she's about to laugh.
Are you okay? Sorry.
I rubbed my head ruefully and grinned back at her. Caught me off guard there. Is that gonna become a habit? Am I gonna be lectured by Shizune and Misha more? At the mention of the duo, Emmy giggles.
Honestly, those two. If I didn't know why, I'd be utterly confused as to why she hangs around with someone so bossy.
Which one are we talking about?
You know exactly which one, Hisao. Misha's hardly bossy.
So, what's the reason then? Huh? The reason why Misha hangs around Shizune. Emmy waves my question off with a smile.
No idea.
I see.
Anyway, you seem to be forgetting the original question, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I guess I am. You wouldn't mind giving a guy a little warning, would you? Otherwise, I'm liable to wind up with a concussion. I emphasize the point by rubbing the back of my head. Emmy giggles madly.
You could wear a helmet. Some kids here do, you know.
Or I could just take revenge. I grab a pillow from beside me and whack Emmy over the head. Damn, bro. Emmy topples off the bed and lands on the floor with a thump. Her arms promptly reappear on the bed, and she manages to pull herself back up. She really has a surprising amount of strength in that little body. Her face is turned downwards and away from mine, making me think I might have accidentally hurt her. Emmy? You okay? You didn't hit your... A hand shoots up and grabs my collar. She pulls me in with a sharp tug, her face now barely an inch from mine as she grins cheekily. Emmy? She gives me a sharp headbutt, our foreheads making quite a loud thud. Ow? A headbutt does not work for anyone. You're hurting yourself as much as you're hurting them. Oof. Oh god, my head hurts just thinking about that. I sit back and rub my now sore head as Emmy smirks victoriously.
How's that for revenge?
No fair! You can't take revenge for revenge! For someone missing most of her legs, Emmy's surprisingly agile. I swipe at her, but she deftly rolls out of the way and lands a hit with her pillow. Of course, the odds are against her. I can stand up for starters. Oof! Uh-huh. Yep. We're getting there. I guess I can't after all. Emmy seems to have effectively tripped me up, and is now sitting primarily astride me as I lay on my back. I'm not even sure how she managed it.
I win.
Her eyes twinkle mischievously. I've been thoroughly defeated, and by a girl that's a fraction of my size at that. And again, being defeated doesn't seem quite so bad. Emmy being positioned over my waist isn't something that I, or my body, can ignore easily. I open my lips to speak, but Emmy's head darts downwards before I can get so much as a word out. I give no resistance as she presses her mouth to mine. Not that I'd want to. This is different somehow. She pulls back, nips at my lower lip, and reinitiates the embrace. Her tongue darts inside my mouth, exploring. I can feel a warmth spreading through my body as my heart begins to beat faster. What? I told you, Tiff. Things are gonna happen. My mind starts to go foggy, and I become vaguely aware of a hand traveling up Emmy's blouse. Emmy gasps as I reach her breast, and then there's a giggle, and then I stare up at a grinning Emmy.
Told you. That's my second win now.
What? That doesn't count. You used feminine wiles.
All's fair in love and war, right? Ha! And you're even blushing. I didn't know you were a blusher, Hisao.
You're blushing too, you know. Probably because of your prudish ways. You and I've got to admit, this is a stupid thing to say to a woman who is currently straddling me and has been, up until a few seconds ago, playing tonsil hockey with me.
A prude, am I? Well then, let's see who blushes first, shall we?
I'm not sure whether the tone of her voice terrifies or arouses me, but that question is quickly made rather moot. Emmy is a prude. I'm a super prude. Oh, good lord. Okay, they skipped most of that, but I gotta fire up this bad boy right now, because I know what's coming. Oh, thank God. It's actually blocked. So, yeah, I have the adult content turned off. If it was turned on, we would be getting, something else. Instead of flashing, shrimp on the Barbie, we'd be getting that same scene of Emmy straddling us, only with less clothing on. And then some. Right now, I have this blocked because currently she is in fact without a shirt. It should be okay technically on stream because it's not the point of this, but I'm keeping it blocked anyway. So, they currently just banged. That was the thing that just happened.
So, did I blush?
I didn't notice. Did I? Emmy shrugs, still breathing a little heavily.
Didn't notice either.
Well, maybe we should... I'm just going to bring this a little bit lower and make it a little bit bigger because I know she's going to be moving around a little bit soon. Yeah, there we go. There's my sensor. I'm so proud of that sensor. I need to use your window. My first instinct is to hide, but then I realize that I'm still utterly exhausted and sitting next to a topless Emmy. So there's no running away. Rin's eyes pass over Emmy and me and focus on the window. There was a cloud. A cloud? Rin nods. I was watching it from my window, but it didn't stay in my window. So I need to use your window. Emmy shifts a little, causing me to cough in order to cover up a giggle of my own.
How long do you need the window for? We're, busy.
This time I can't contain my laughter. Rin ignores both Emmy and me and peers out the window. Her shoulders slump and she looks disappointed. It changed into something else. Disappointing. Emmy is having trouble keeping a straight face.
Sorry to hear that, Rin. Could we have a little privacy now, please?
Ren shrugs as if to say, "Can you?" and hooks her foot on the door, pulling it closed behind her. We both dissolve into roaches, words, whatever. They're just laughing insanely. They're just like rolling on the floor laughing. That's what they're doing basically. Unable to deal with Rin's bizarrely timed visit any other way. After our laughter dies down, I look to Emmy. We're both a total mess. Well. Emmy raises an eyebrow.
Well?
Again? Oh my god. Emmy grins and laughs, and then she nods.
We should probably ditch the clothes this time.
Okay, I should be safe to turn that off now. I hope. Yes. Okay, I'm actually gonna save and call it there because, yeah, I think ending after a sex scene is good enough. Okay, switching screens. Alright, so yeah, that happened. So I'm gonna say that's a good place to end it right there. End it off on on the good note. What's going on over here? Nothing crazy. Alright, so tomorrow at some point I will stream. I think there's stuff I've got to end up doing. Well, I've been playing Minecraft, listening and going, uh-huh. Clicking furiously. Ugh. Anywho, tomorrow at some point I will stream. I want to try for 12. Might not happen depending on what I've got to get done tomorrow, so maybe a little bit later. I'm unsure. The earliest, 12 o'clock. The latest, probably 5. I'll see. I'll post it on Twitter, and then everyone will get the notification when I eventually do go live. Tomorrow will be more Jurassic Park the game. And then also as another reminder, there is no stream on Tuesday because I have work. Anywho, thanks for joining me, Tiff, on this wonderful adventure here at Katawa Shoujo. The next weekend I get available, which will probably be next Sunday, I'll continue on with it. Anywho, I'm hoping you have a good rest of your day. I'll see you next time.